Michael Diana, Behavioral Neuroscience, Chapter 6, Segment 3. All vertebrate brains appear to have a spinal cord, a hindbrain, a midbrain, as well as a diencephalon and a telencephalon. This is evidenced by the lamprey, which is a vertebrate with the most primitive features. The lamprey has a very small cerebellum. The small cerebellum has allowed researchers to believe that the increased size of a cerebellum may be responsible for increased complexity of sensory processing and increased motor agility. Differences in brains of vertebrate species lies within relative size. All mammals have a 6-layered cortex, sometimes called a neocortex. The cortex is the outer covering of the cerebral hemispheres that consists largely of nerve cell bodies and their branches. This is used in higher functioning. The neocortex is the cerebral cortex that is made up of 6 distinct layers. Reptiles were the first vertebrates to have relatively large cerebral hemispheres. They were also the first to have a cerebral cortex, but reptiles only have 3 layers as opposed to 6 in mammals. The encephalization factor is a measure of brain size relative to body size. Elephant brains weigh 3 times as much as humans, and whales are even larger. So this led scientists to originally think that brain weight should be considered a fraction of body weight. This is no longer the thought. There is a distinct correlation between brain and body weight. The encephalization factor is denoted as K. Humans' encephalization factor is 0.71, and the next closest is chimpanzees at 0.26. Most major parts of the brain increase roughly in proportion to the total increase in a brain size. For example, the olfactory bulb has a larger relative size in some species, presumably because evolution favored a very sensitive smell in that species. Brain comparisons. The medulla becomes proportionally smaller relative to brain weight. The cerebellum keeps pace. The cerebral cortex grows more than any other part, and it has grown disproportionately across human evolution. The brain regions that have most expanded over primate evolution are the ones that develop later in life and serve more complex functions. Structural and behavioral features that we consider characteristic of human development did not develop simultaneously. The larger brain is a relatively late development. 4 million years ago, hominids began walking on 2 feet. They are referred to as bipedal. 2.5 million years ago, hominins manufactured and used stone materials. Australopithecines are the ancestors of humans, early toolmakers, and they had the brain the size of a chimp. They sharpened stone tools for hunting and butchering animals. Their hominid jaws and teeth became smaller with the use of stone tools, and about 2 million years ago, they developed modern features such as dexterous hands, smaller teeth, and a trend towards increasing cranial capacity. The fossils of Australopithecines were only found in Africa. The next species was Homo erectus, with a cranial capacity of 700 centimeters cubed. They have smaller faces, and the brain eventually grew to the modern capacity of 1,400 centimeters cubed. The Homo erectus used elaborate stone tools, used fire, and hunted larger animals. Their fossils have been found on 3 continents. The final species is Homo sapiens, which developed around 150,000 years ago, and their brain volume reached modern level. The growth of a large brain has a long gestation period and a difficult birthing process. The brain is 2% of total body weight, and mutations in the brain are likely to lead to behavior disorders. Any change in an organ during evolution is assumed to confer advantages with respect to survival. The social brain hypothesis suggests that the larger cortex is needed to handle the complex cognitive tasks of manipulating social relationships with other large-brained individuals. Total brain size and relative forebrain size are positively correlated with the frequency of behavior.